Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Well, I got a very interesting article coming from Brasilia, from Brazil. There were some presidential elections over there, and the protagonist was Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Mr. Bolsonaro. Right now, this article comes from The Guardian. And this is the title: Brazil election, ex-president Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva wins vote but not outright victory. Now, this video will show you how I analyze news and without being informed. Without being informed, I don't know, I heard this Lula was a certain kind of person. I know who Bolsonaro is. But by these guys, I'm telling you how to analyze. Look at this. Beginning. It goes like this. Brazil's race will go to a second round after the former president Luiz da Silva failed to secure the overall majority he needed to avoid a runoff with a far-right incumbent Jair Bolsonaro. So far, I know which of these two is on the payroll of, this comes from The Guardian, from the West, from the Great Britain at least. That is not Bolsonaro. Why? Because I know that Silva is not basically I know he's a communist. All right? That's what I know about him. He's a left. But this article, the author, the weasels, let's see who, Tom Phillips and Andrew Downey in Sao Paulo de Ana Ionova in Rio de Janeiro. These three weasels, they do not call da Silva anything. Left, far left, communist, nothing. A corrupt, just ex-president. That means, wow, that's very nice. When they refer to Bolsonaro, far right. So you already know how this article is. I knew it just by reading this. And I said, okay, let's read further, okay? With more than 99.5% of votes counted, the leftist veteran, nothing bad, leftist veteran, had secured 48.3% of the vote, not enough to avoid the 30 October showdown with his right-wing rival. Now his right wing is not far right anymore. Bolsonaro, who significantly outperformed pollsters' predictions and will be buoyed by the results, received 43.3%. Okay? All right. Now, I said, let me see this Bolsonaro, because I know Bolsonaro da Silva, because I know this is a communist. I know he was involved in some corruption in Brazil. I don't know much about him. I from the get-go. I know that he's a communist, as I said 3 times already, and 2 times. So I checked. I said, oh, let me go and see what's going on with this. So I did 2 clicks, click, and I said, Wikipedia. So he is the founder, or is the president, I think, of the Workers' Party. For me, bing, 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 bing. Besides, he's a leftist, but I know another guy who was the president, the leader, the Führer, actually, of the Workers' Party. Can you name that guy's name? Huh? Can you name names? And he was supposedly on the far right, but he was of the Workers' Party. Oh, National Workers' Party, German, Deutsche National Workers' Party. So this is the Brazilian National Workers' Party. And how come this is of left and the other guy is far right? That's something that Dinesh D'Souza, he explains that very well in his book, documentaries and speeches. Watch him, listen to him. He talks how actually, what are you talking about Nazism being on the right? What about fascism being on the right? And he explains excellently. Just watch a few, just do a little YouTube search. Then you're going to find Dinesh D'Souza. Perfect. So, and I said, okay, here's the president of whatever of Workers' Party. For me, that's a bing, bing, bing flag, big flag. And then I said, okay, is Lula da Silva a communist? I said. And then I get answers from various people who sometimes know more than the historians or politicians or article writers, authors. So I found the first one. Listen to this guy. His name is Mateus B. Lives in Brazil. Okay, this is his. Obviously not. Okay, if you said obviously, that means you already have the evidence, but you didn't provide anything, and you say obviously not. Okay, now he's going to tell us why he, Mateus, thinks that obviously not. And this is what he says. Listen to this. Lula is a left-wing politician. How left, Mateus? That matters a lot. And he said, and when starting his political career as a union leader, bing, 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 another flag for me, union leader, okay, no communists here. Again, it's got 2 or 3 strikes already, okay? Let's put it this way. First was the Workers' Party, right? The second one right here with the union leader, and I can remember the first one, maybe there were only 2. And then we go further. A union leader, right? In Brazil, during the military dictatorship, there was obviously links to his party with Cuba. Bing, 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 bing. Another one. Or the USSR. Bum, 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 bum. So you see how many are, but he's not a communist, he's not a far leftist, not at all. Lula is a nice guy, okay? So obviously not. And then he said, but there are real communist socialist parties in Brazil. There might be, but you know, I can call myself a paperclip. But am I a paperclip? I'm not. So you see how things work, Mateus? Anyway, so he says, if Lula was a communist, he would have linked himself to those more extreme left-wing parties. I already got like 5 bing bings for you, Matteo, but thank you very much. Now I go to the next one, and this is what this guy said. This guy is a Daniel Viena, and he says, I am the kind of Brazilian who migrates. Okay, good for you. And this is what he says. Lula is a figurehead in a party run by ex-members of the 1970s communist guerrilla factions, some of them trained in Cuba. Bing, 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 bing. So he is a communist. All right? Now, another thing. Why would Great Britain, the authors, which obviously, you know, is The Guardian, would call that guy just a left-winger and the other one a far-right? We already know they want Lula to win. Now, why would you want a communist to win against a capitalist? And you say, well, that's why he's not a communist, because they would never align themselves with the communist. Bing, 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 false. And I will tell you why. Remember 1939? Yeah, it's been a long time. I know, we haven't been alive then, but we still have eyes, memory, and all that, right? So what happened then? Then it was a capitalist country, right? A far-right country, Nazi Germany, far-right. And we have a communist country, USSR, Soviet Union. They both invaded Poland, capitalist country. Now, who did Great Britain declare war against or on? The capitalist country, Nazi Germany, or the communist country, Soviet Union? The capitalist country. So, and then who did they fight together with against the capitalist country? With the Soviets, with the communists. So Churchill with Stalin and Roosevelt were all buddies, right? So they made common front with the communists against the capitalists. So there is historical precedent when these guys did not care what kind of criminal government is in charge of the specific country, as long as that country does whatever I agree with. And if Lula steps to the left and doesn't step to the right when England, Great Britain, or United States tell him to, then he's going to be out. And they're going to put, I don't know, a king or something. Whatever works. Or a dead person, or a person with Alzheimer. Whatever. So you see, I don't need to know more about who's who, what's what. And I know Bolsonaro is not loved by the Western media and the politicians because he's kind of like, dare I say it, independent. So obviously this guy must be on the other side, including the fact that, oh, they called him how they call him, veteran left winger or something, and the other guy from the first paragraph, extreme right winger, extreme right. What does that mean? Oh, Nazi, there we go over there. Boo, 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 we're all right. So, thank you very much. That's all I need to know about Brazil. If Brazil gets communist again, which it was not communist, but under this guy's presidency, which was corrupt and all that, but what country is not corrupt, you may say? I would say none. They're all corrupt, it's true. But it's levels of corruptions, okay? I wish you all the best in the world, my fellow Brazilians, and wish me best in the world with these guys here, because these guys are just slimier. That's all. Those guys are a little bit straight, more straight. These guys are just, yeah, we're gonna take you the money from your pocket legally and smiling. Thank you very much, Mr. Kosman, for paying your taxes. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.